let me bring in the rest of the panel. So sit tight, Andrew and Scott. David Liew, Head of Sales, North Asia ITRS. David spent 5 years in New York with ITRS, contributing to the significant growth of ITRS America. He then relocated to Hong Kong to start up ITRS Asia business for Asia's business for Asia Pac, including Japan and Australia. Mila Liew, she is Sales Director Asia Pac G2E and Devrient. She has been working in the casino industry since 2007, working in various positions for major gaming solution suppliers. Her current position oversees Asian casino market for banknote processing systems, and Manon Campbell, the regional head of solution engineering for Oracle Hospitality in JPAC. She has over 2 decades worth of experience working in the hospitality industry across Asia Pacific, Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, which is everywhere except for America and I guess the southern continent. So Manon is responsible for the solution execution of Oracle Hospitality sales and business development efforts. So my first question will be to David. Marketing in today's, what I call 3,600 degree environment, because it's really beyond the 360 that we've been pitching for the last 10 years because of all of the different marketing offers that one can get. So today's marketing mix, which includes email, events, blogging, tweeting, PR, ebooks, white papers, apps, banner ads, Google AdWords, social media outreach, and platforms in America, at least like Roku, who create their own channels pretty much. How on earth do we keep up with all that data? David?
Yep, thanks for the question and as well as the intro, Andrew. Also, I found Pegasystems' presentation really interesting, and they touched on a couple of key sort of points as well, which I'll use to pivot to
Okay, that'd be great.
What I think about this really. So so Pega actually talked about the customer decision hub, sort of being always on. Looking for sort of adaptation, next best action in terms of milliseconds, in terms of real time. So I think the pivot here really is not from the from the marketing systems themselves, and then and also the content selection that I guess digital marketing focuses on. But I want to pivot that to slightly more the underlying systems that would deliver that kind of speed, that kind of latency. So I think it's best to share a use case, right? That is pertinent to this pivot and this question, if I may. So let me start by sort of giving a quick profile of the project that we've been sort of working on. I can't name names for confidentiality reasons, but basically they're a sportsbooks provider, and they embarked in a digital marketing journey about 3+ years ago. And in a very short time, they've enriched their multiple digital UX channels, right? We're talking about touch points in their wagering business. So there's some similarities, correlations to casinos and even dare I say banks, but they have come up with things like QR scan to bet, enhanced customer centers, live racing screening with forums, and most recently their smart platform has been also boasting some excellent figures with a lot of connectivity to loads of third-party providers and many banks to enhance their funds and payment channels. So fast forward this to the midst of our last few months of COVID. And what we've also seen, right, what I've seen at least, is that the digital channels have seen consistent enhancements and also feature accelerations, right? So essentially to keep the touch point with the customers as fresh and as relevant as possible. So again, just to reiterate that whilst we do not focus on the content or the actual systems themselves, we underscored during the project the importance of managing this delivery, i.e. the systems that actually delivers these content. So the key issues around sort of availability, performance, and vast data, you pointed this out as well, are sort of major issues that they will be dealing with, particularly because all their client touch points and channels get more and more enhanced and inundated and loaded with users. And this kind of highlighted, the need to ensure that these underlying systems, basically the innards, right, of the entire delivery system, were resilient and also able to handle the extra load that these new features, that they put out there were offering. And not only that, it was equally needful to have a precise and critical understanding of where there could be bottlenecks to essentially mitigate any kind of outages, given all these enhancements and new features. So as an example here, right, just sort of rounding up my point, is that with all these different additional connections of whether it's APIs or third parties or a lot more systems, dealing with connectivity, these are all crucial to the user and the customer experience, right? Which means not only the actual user connections, i.e. them coming in needs to be sort of like managed, monitored, observed, but also, there are so many, a multitude of connections that really need some real-time observability and performance monitoring if they were to be able to deliver that kind of, speed and that kind of like very, very low latency to the customer's touch points. So given this extra load, there's an element of also the required and projected capacity as well, which always calls for the business to consider a bit of a more balanced and commercial view around first, keeping an eye on costs, second, saving money, third, ensuring quality user experience, and fourth, the entire application performance itself. So yeah, we did quite a number of things, but just a few highlights is that we started with recommending them to use synthetic user experience monitoring. So that kind of drives a lot of customer experience as well, and it covered the following sort of three aspects. The first one is active monitoring, where we were checking if the site was accessible, pretending like a user. The second was also pretending like a user and looking at the page load speeds for response time latency, so that they understood very quickly, where potential problems are. And then the third was slightly more detailed, where we again pretended to be a user making transactions. So the computer would run a script that replicates a transaction or a user. These sort of replicated behaviors can be things like logging in, clicking on buttons, completing a wager, and so on. So transaction in a syntactic sense checks to see if the usual customer paths or customer interactions are always in operation.
I know, sorry about that. I had mute on. I know the sports betting business is one of the most competitive around. And I think a few years ago, the figure was the company that had the highest was something like Betfair or one of those English ones. And they had 4% of the market. So basically you're dealing with a situation where the only differentiator has to be the basically the system that's working, that's that the user is going to be utilizing, because so I would see how the synthetic monitoring and the customer experience would be extremely important. So did they find was the customer experience improved afterwards? Like what would you say?
Good question. So yeah, I think part of it is sort of an insurance, right? Where they wanted to ensure that the systems that they were delivering these enhanced features were going to be extremely resilient, right? And part of it was also around sort of like, well, let's be proactive about it, right? I.e. changing some, reactive cultures and mindsets to essentially, ensure that what they wanted to get out of the customer experience, right, were not impacted. So there's a bit of a good balance there, I would say, yeah.
Okay. Manon, do you want me to repeat the question, or do you have enough to go from there?
The 600 question.
Marketing in today's...
Or the personalized.
Yeah, no, the marketing in today's 3,600 degree, with the marketing, all the marketing mix, how on earth do you keep track of all that data? Cloud, is AI being used right now?
So I think there's a couple of questions in that question, really. But let's just start, Andrew, with, in today's world, customers move about the world in a way that's fast, digital, and unstructured. And it's probably hasn't really been like that for, it's a very recent development, I guess. And the consumers, move from device to device, channel to channel, online to offline at any given moment. But no matter where they go, what we are finding is that they do expect a tailored experience, individualized to their needs. And the marketing leaders must translate those very disparate moments into a very cohesive experience. And I think when we get to the next question about personalized marketing, I'll allude to that a little bit more. But what we are finding at Oracle is that nearly 80% or 90% really of the chief marketing officers say that delivering great customer experiences across different channels is central to their long-term competitive differentiation. And it's actually a top priority cited by their CEOs. But despite of that goal, Andrew, we are finding that only 4% of the marketers are actually happy with the customer journey that they deliver today. And that really is rooted in complexity and fragmentation, which is what you're alluding to with the question, right? So for us, it's really key that we are trying to reduce the complexity of that digital ecosystem for the marketing teams. So the marketing teams and their leaders can focus on transforming the customer experience with both innovation and at the same time liberate themselves from spending the time, money, and resources to do the integration. Now, there's multiple platforms out there, and I think Andrew, and forgive me, I forgot the other gentleman's name. I think they've alluded to them having a platform, of course, that works in that space, but also Oracle has a platform that that touches upon that marketing transformation called Oracle Marketing Cloud, and we're pleased to have integration to that marketing cloud for our hospitality solutions. Okay. And again, Andrew, I'll allude to the personalized marketing a little bit more when we move on to the question.
Okay, no problem. That's coming right up. Same question out to Scott and Andrew, touch upon social media and how that might fit into the personalization equation as well, if you will.
Yeah, I'll just say a few things. I couldn't agree more with Manon's comment there around this personalization. I think it's a shift in terms of the demographics that are being attracted into Macau. We are now dealing with younger, more internet savvy people. These are the people who will become the VIP customers of the future. And it is critical that we learn how to engage with them in a way which is significantly different than how we engaged with the forefathers. And the second thing there around chief marketing officers is absolutely, it's around automation and making sure that with this influx of data from different sources, they're able to use a tool, whether or not it's our tool or another tool, but a tool to be able to glean critical insights out of that and make decisions,
Yeah, and I think to further that point, right, in customers' minds, they use certain channels for certain things, right? I'll never forget an article talking about how if a user is on tablet, they might be just looking to kind of browse and see what life could be. But if they're on a mobile device, there's like a 90% chance they're looking for a phone number to call. Just like one sort of key insight I remember reading that sort of was a very aha moment for me. I think to Andy's point about automation, whether it's something like Pega's adaptive models, whereby we're able to automatically get back responses to say, whenever you make this type of offer on this channel, it never converts, but on this other channel, it always does. In a very automated way, is obviously one way to do it. Thinking about social, I think you kind of get the intersection between what the brand wants to do and how customers want to use that channel. So I think being able to have software or being able to have tools, again, in an agnostic way, no matter what it is, to allow your business to execute the strategies in whatever tactical way you've chosen. So being able to say, okay, we're going to integrate with Facebook or WeChat and use those channels in a way that patrons expect, but that is agnostic to how the business operates. Yeah. Because if you have to have a different channel strategy and content team and approval team and authority matrix for every channel, it's going to be very difficult to get content out into the market. So being able to optimize your business processes to say, for us, we will create content or have strategies that will be outwardly facing tailored, but are as sort of generic or channel agnostic as possible, really allows you to kind of meet the patron need for, I want this channel for this purpose, while also doing it at scale. Yeah. Obviously, that's a challenge that you step through as a business on projects, but I think really being able to sort of meet both ends, the only way we're going to deliver what patrons want in a way that's delivering the value or the opportunity for the business. Yeah. That'd be my, I guess, my take on it.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very good, interesting take. The point I actually write in one of my books about utilizing AI to understand a person's behavior. So the AI is actually sitting there and it actually recognizes that this person opens emails and has actually taken some offers up when it recognizes a tweet. So maybe like you get home at 7 p.m., you check all your emails, you check your tweet, you send out your tweets. So the system is actually looking for that tweet. So once it sees the tweet, boom, it sends it out. So I think, we're getting to the point where it is becoming extremely sophisticated. And if you're not there, another casino will be. So, these people value this kind of, and especially here in Asia, because they're all very sophisticated. So the next question I have is, I read an interesting article. It was titled, Gartner predicted 80% of marketers will abandon personalization efforts by 2025. Now, since we're all working for software companies, that's very scary for us. And I wonder, basically the reasoning was the ROI justification wasn't there. My question to you, to the panel, is do you agree with this or not? And in your answer, explain how you measure the digital user experience to make sure that the ROI will be there. So let me start with Andrew and Scott. And
sure. So not to be one to disagree with Gardner, but I don't really agree. I think personalization in the sense of we're always going to be generating something bespoke for every patron at every touch point is a lofty goal, right? Obviously, you need to have a commitment from the business if that's going to be one of the forefront or one of the most important pieces of your business or of your marketing efforts. I think that if you look at the rise of certain tools like MDM or customer data solutions, whereby you're able to stitch and profile patrons, right, to blend disparate offers or logins or browsers or pings into one unified customer record, is one way that personalization can be done more at scale. Whereby you're saying, okay, we've done some data profiling, stitched together all these different elements. Now that we know a lot about our patron, how do we personalize for that person, either as a segment, as we mentioned, or plug it into something like an MBA decision, right? Where we know what they've done in the past, we know where they prefer to shop or game. How do we actually deliver an offer like that? Or what is the next best opportunity there? So to me, I don't think personalization will be dead. I think it might take different forms, and not every form might be used all the time by every business. But I definitely think that it will be necessary to continue on in the future. It will accelerate, especially as more experiences migrate into the digital realm. Customers are still going to have those expectations, right? That brands will know them and speak with one voice. In terms of how you measure it, I don't have any hard statistics. I think there are a couple of things we can think about. One are your traditional metrics around, okay, what is our share of voice, share of wallet, share of purchases, to understand, okay, if we look at subset A of patrons who we do personalize, subset B who we don't, how do I perform with them on any given day, month, week, year, and also overall. So sort of the business metrics, but also looking at how long do patrons stay with you? What is the migration from a new joiner to a mass customer to mass prestige to and up the chain? Seeing how brands can successfully migrate customers along that, I guess I'll say a value continuum or an offer continuum, I think is one really good way to indicate how sticky is that business. How well are you interacting? How well are you producing offers, content, touch points that are relevant to them, and therefore generating the long-term loyalty or long-term commitment to stay with your brand, whatever industry you're in.
And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I just add at a blanket level, I mean, I disagree with the statement, but I know why these kinds of things are written. But at the end of the day, human beings are inherently selfish people, right? We really are. And if COVID has taught us anything, it's that digital noise is only going to increase more and more as we seem to spend our entire time on this life in front of virtual screens and laptops. So the competitive nature of trying to get the attention of your patrons, and this is going to be, I'm waiting, it's kind of like the Game of Thrones over the big ice wall. Winter is coming once they open the floodgates into Macau. There'll be winners and losers. Those who personalize will win, and those who give generic offers, but I really think that they will, they risk being lost amongst the noise.
Yeah, and I think some of the research I've been doing is, we're talking about you have to have personalized understanding of someone's content too. So we're going to be marketing to them on their television at home, right? And the television, in some cases, they're already seeing what's going on in the room. That's a bit too much, but we're getting to facial recognition, emotional recognition. So this is all data that is going to be put into these models. So, Manon, your thoughts
thanks
on
for the question.
Sure.
And I completely echo with what Andrew and Scott just said. I don't agree with the statement that Gartner has made. I think especially in the hospitality industry, creating brand loyalty is extremely important. There's lots of competition out there, and you want to make sure that when you have a guest stay with you once, that they become a repeat guest. So every time they travel, again and again, that they continue to go back to your hotel. Now, in our opinion, creating guest loyalty is all around delivering the guest experience. If you give the guest a personalized and a great guest experience, they will continue to come back to your hotel. I think when you talk about scalability and the systems you can put in place, there's multiple systems out there, but I do think that we've got multiple windows of opportunity when you talk about a guest staying at your property. Maybe it's different when you talk about patrons on the gaming floor, but in our opinion, when you have a guest staying at your property, you have all these windows of opportunity, right? It's while they are searching, they want to travel to Macau and they're searching on all the different websites to find the hotel. Then you have the opportunity of time of booking. Then you have the opportunity at pre-arrival, during stay, post-departure. So you have a huge amount of opportunity throughout the entire reservation journey, as we call it. And with that, a return on investment, I would like to think would be there, Andrew. And as Scott and Andrew alluded to, you can do measurement on conversion rates, how sticky were certain offers. Those measurements can all be done through a platform. So definitely for me, a personalized guest experience is crucial in building that brand loyalty.
Okay. Yeah, and it was a question I wanted to put out. I don't agree with it either, but it's interesting they're throwing it out there, and I think it's good to explore it because it will pop up in people's minds, your clients' minds. Yeah. So David, can you expound upon how personalization would work with ITRS?
Yeah. So again, just to sort of reiterate, whilst we don't really come up with the systems or the content, for folks' digital marketing journey, we really sort of look after their innards, right? Helping, I guess, the companies and the corporations, or even, sort of casinos, banks, or whatnot, who are going down this particular journey, helping them ensure that their underlying systems, right? You know, for example, applications like content delivery network, you know, the application for wagering, the odds application, the risk application, data purging applications, for example, and then also their connectivity, right? So internal networks, databases, third-party APIs, payment channels, web front end sort of touch points, and also its required capacity. So storage for this vast amount of data, right? The compute that is required to scale at speed, right? To spin up things when, you know, like the example of, you know, when Macau opens, you know, are the floodgates going to be open? Are the systems able to handle that kind of capacity? And if it were to be spun up, you know, in terms of compute requirements or network requirements or data storage requirements, how can they all run at an optimal performance, resilience, and also cost? So that's, you know, where I would, you know, sort of focus a lot of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to move on to a third question, which is regarding automation. Now, I believe software was initially created very much to stop human beings from doing certain things that machines can do better. So I wanted to bring Mila in, and can you explain a little bit about the GSEC and Devrillance automated and simplified process of banknote processing?
Hi, Andrew. Thank you. So actually, our product and solution is very different from the online marketing software, but definitely we give out the kind of customer experience to our customer. So G&D current technology, we provide total automation solution for the current room to process all the cash port, such as table job, slot, non-gaming, and kiosks. So actually the solutions can shift for all kinds of different casino. So the difference of the solution for each casino, we base to have an analysis on their volume, their currency requirement, and also their process procedures. So our main goal for the casino current room, the most important is improve the efficiency, improve the productivities, enhance the accuracy and security as well. So leverage all of this to our customer. So we provide our knowledge on the how to optimize the flow, how to lay out the count room, and also we have our high speed and in advanced technology and modular band processing, a system that can be customized of the specified needs and requirements. So the whole counting process integrated with our software is a dedicated casino count room software. So with the built interface for all the components, and also we monitor all the processing process, all the report can generate directly. So we also have connectivity to casino accounting system as well. So besides that, to provide the maximum automation, we have our auto loading and also packaging solution. So to consider all of this, so we work with each casino individually that to customize the machine, the processing, the layout together to have a unique solution for each one. So this is not a one-size-fits-all solution approach, but we have a unique solution to each casino. So the efficiency achieved with the integrated automated solution can be substantial. So the counting process can be sped up and more secure, more accurate, and then of course we can reduce a lot of manual work and also the manpower as well. So a truly automated solution that really help customers to reduce their time and also save a lot of cost.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that. We're running a bit out of time, so I will ask the last question, which is Gartner recommends working with a vendor on a pilot project or a POC before purchasing expensive personalization tools. So I just want a quick one-word answer from everyone in the forum. So Manon, let's start with you. How would that work with Oracle?
One word is a bit of a challenge there, Andrew, to be honest with you, but I'll try to keep it. I think you said one sentence? I think you're on mute, Andrew.
One sentence, two sentences.
One sentence. Okay. All right. So absolutely, at Oracle Hospitality, we have recognized that things are getting more and more complex by the day, right? With all the innovation platforms and all the requirements that our customers have. So we are very proud that we do offer what we call a non-production pilot, where both new customers and existing customers can tap into a non-production environment that can be used to test integration. It can be used for UAT of the actual application. It can be used for any purpose the customer wants to use it for. So most definitely, Andrew, Gartner is absolutely right in this regard, that a conference room pilot or a production pilot, however you want to call it, that an environment is an absolute necessity at this given time.
Okay, great. Thank you for that and for being concise. David, how would it work?
Sorry,
with
I was a bit more than 2 sentences though.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. David?
Yeah, let me keep it short as well. So yeah, as I've actually shared over time this in a few elements here, right? We don't really sort of have the content or know-how of tailored personalization, but if they were to go into a POC. To look at, let's say, for example, how real-time, how scalable, the use of cloud, for example, the understanding of user experience in terms of synthetics, right, and the metrics and response time. This is where we can help sort of provide a very right-sized environment, help to continuously optimize, right, a cloud environment if you use a cloud environment for the POC. For example, and the entire sort of tech stack needs, right, for this POC to essentially continuously optimize, right, and help them also understand some upcoming, what they need in terms of upcoming feature releases or projects or budgets, and we hope to collaborate with the gaming and hospitality industry to come up with some use cases for this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Mila?
So actually, our product and solution is very different from maybe other product because we are involved a very large scale, high-speed machine and our software as well. So there's many physical factors that we cannot have a POC or a proof of concept, such as electricity, space, and also infrastructure as well. But how to ensure a perfect fit, that the automated project always should have an in-depth analysis of customer requirement and then look at the whole processing of the process.
Okay, great. And Andrew, Scott?
Yeah, so we obviously offer POCs both in production or dev environments, but to be a little bit controversial, I would say that too often when we do a POC, we look at nuts and bolts. We look at it differently. We look at what is the MLP, right? In terms of what is a business process which we can stand up in 6 weeks that actually has value to the business, not just to the IT area, not just sort of proves the nuts and bolts work. And I think POCs should be leaning towards that more than they lean towards proving to IT folk that it works from a data sense.
Yeah, deliver that minimal lovable product.
Agreed.
Controversial, I know, but
yeah.
I think it's all about the
good point though, Andrew. For sure, it's a good point.
Okay, great. We've gone over a little bit, but don't feel that you need to shorten. We'll just make the Q&A at the end a little shorter. So let me turn it over to Manon now, and Navigating Hospitality's new next.
Thanks,